AI influencers are out there making $10,000 a month through sponsorships and brand deals. They don't want you to know how they're doing it, but I'm going to show you anyway. And I'm going to expose them by showing you how to use the same exact process. If you want to continue to learn how to make premium, high-quality AI influencer images, hit the subscribe button. So this is sort of a part 2 video. We're going to quickly go through the things we went through in part 1, but I definitely recommend you go and watch part 1. If you want to see part 1, you can click the video card in the top right. So after the first video, we're left with this image, which is looking a little bit wonky. Her eyes are looking weird. Her lips are a little bit deformed, but we can fix that. So we're going to turn this image into this one, which is a more refined and normal looking AI influencer. It's just more high quality. And we're going to do that in just a few extra steps in ComfyUI. So let's just go ahead and start with a blank canvas here. We're just going to clear the entire thing. And now let's load up a checkpoint. Now, again, this is what you use to load your model. We're going to go with realistic vision. You can go with any model you want, but I like the realistic look of this model. So now we need to add our positive and negative prompt, and we'll do that by just double clicking, typing in clip, and get our clip text encode module. And then we're going to hold Alt, click this module, and drag it down to duplicate it. That's just an easier way of duplicating things. Or what you could do is you could click on the module you want to copy, Control C, click anywhere else, then Control V to paste. So now to discern which one is positive and negative, we're just going to color these. So right click the first one, go to colors, go to green, click this one, go to colors, red. And now we're going to connect our checkpoint to these modules by just clicking and dragging this to clip. And now we're going to get our K sampler. Just double click K sampler, click on the first one. And we also need our decoder. So double click, decode, get our VAE decode. Then we need to preview the image. So let's load up the preview image module. And then lastly, we're going to need our empty latent image, which is basically going to be our noise image. All right, now we want to go ahead and connect these. So just connect the positive prompt to the positive on the K sampler. Same thing for the negative to negative. Connect the latent to the decode and decode to preview. And then our empty latent image, connect that to the latent image in sampler. Oh, and also our model from our checkpoint to the K sampler and the VAE from the checkpoint to the VAE decode. There we go. Now we should be set up. We just need a prompt here. We're just going to type in clothed woman, clothed beautiful woman, traveling, lifestyle, Instagram. Now, I like to put in clothed because if you just put in women, for some reason, they always come out naked. So we're going to put some clothes on her. And I'm also going to put in naked in the negative prompt because I don't want her to be naked. Actually, let's see if I take out naked in the negative prompt, if they will be naked. Let's see. Let's queue this prompt up. And she is in fact clothed. But if I take out clothed, then she's not naked. I don't know. Sometimes it does that, sometimes not. Like here, if I just put in woman and take out everything else, queue prompt, and she's in fact naked. So we're not going to show that on YouTube or anywhere else. So we'll just go with our clothed beautiful woman, traveling, lifestyle, Instagram, put naked in the negative prompt. I'm also going to put in lavish lifestyle because we want her to be living that posh life. And let's get rid of our naked woman on the right. And there we go. Okay, we have, all right, so these are the modules we have right now. So we want to upgrade this a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we stick with this image and that it doesn't change. So if you go to our K sampler, you can see that there is a seed. There's a randomize here, which means every time we queue the prompt, it's going to change the seed. So it's going to be a completely different image, but with the same prompt. We're going to queue prompt again. It'll give us another one with a different seed, but we don't want that. We want it to be the same seed. So we're going to go to fixed, and we're just going to change this by clicking the arrow, and it should change since we hit that arrow, and bam, there we go. Now this is the one we're going to stick with. Oh wow, it even got the fingers right. Okay, we just want to upgrade and refine this image. So let's take our K sampler. Oh, well, it's not. Let's just move it here. Okay, we're going to double click and we're going to type in K sampler, and we're going to get the K sampler advanced. This just has a few more configurations added to it, along with some other things that go over my head. Okay, so we're going to move these modules up a little bit. So what you can do if you want to move an entire group is you can hold Control and then select to select multiple. And then once you have them selected, you can hold Shift and you can move these as a group. So we're just going to move these up here. And now we're going to get our upscale module. So just double click, type in upscale, and then grab the latent upscale by. So now you can see that the upscale latent by has a latent samples connector. So we're going to take the latent from the K sampler, connect that to this, and then connect the output latent to the K sampler. And then on the upscale latent by, we're going to change the scale by. We're going to change that to 2. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a dumbed down explanation of what the upscale latent by does. And if anybody knows what they're doing, correct me in the comments. But what I believe it does is that the latent image is an image of noise, just random pixels. And since we have the empty latent image module here, 512 by 512, it's going to stay that 512 by 512. But what the upscale latent does is that it adds more noise into that picture, into that image, thus giving this process more pixels to work with, making things more detailed and refined. Okay, so we're going to need both these modules here. So let's just select them again, Control drag to select them, Control C to copy. I'm going to move down and paste these down here. Actually, we're going to move these up here. And let's just color these preview images so we can easily see which one is which. We'll make the purple one before the refining and the blue one after the refining, and we'll place that here right next to it. Then let's connect the K sampler advanced to the VAE decode, and we also need to connect the VAE, don't forget that. So we just go all the way back to the checkpoint and connect that to there. Now, before we queue our prompt, we need to adjust a few things here in the K sampler modules. So we want to work with the same seeds in both the before the refinement and after. So what we want to do is we want to change this noise seed. Just double click this, Control C to copy that, go to the advanced, go here and Control V to paste. And then make sure to change the control after generate to fixed so that it doesn't change when you hit Q prompt. So these seeds are going to be the same when you hit Q prompt. You're always going to use the same seed. If you guys don't know what a seed is, it's basically a rearrangement of the image. It'll use the same prompt. It's just going to give you a different look, a different generation. But then we're also going to go to the K sampler advanced, and we're going to change the scheduler to Keras, which I've heard from Scott Detweiler. It's basically a faster algorithm. You'll basically get the same result. It's just going to be faster. If you guys don't know who Scott Detweiler is, he's a lot of where I'm learning how to do this. And he explains this in a lot more detail. I'm just trying to dumb things down a little bit so we can do what we want to do. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to have the first K sampler do the first part. So we want to go to steps on the first K sampler, change this to 12. So we only want it to generate the image from 0 to 12 and then stop there. And then we want the K sampler to pick it up from there. So we're going to change the K sampler to start at where we left off, which was 12. And we want to continue, let's say 30. And now let's just Q prompt, see what happens. And we got an error here because we did not connect the K sampler inputs. So let's go ahead and do that. We got to connect the model to the K sampler and the positive and negative to the K sampler advanced. And I believe that should work. So we have our first image. Let's Q prompt again. And let's see if that gives us something. And there we go. We have a way more refined and normal looking AI influencer. There's still a little bit of problems here on the legs, but it looks a whole lot better than the first one. So now here's another little trick that I'm going to show you that will kind of save room here in your workflow. Let's say we want these seeds to work off the same seed. We don't want to have to go and copy and paste and make sure that they're the same thing. We can make it so that they're both coming from the same source. So just double click the space and type in primitive. Let's grab the primitive node. Let's drag it down here. And then we need to right click the K sampler and convert seed to input. So that'll take the seed that we had there, it's now gone, and it makes it an input. So we can connect something to that. And let's do the same thing with K sampler, right click it, go to convert noise seed to input. It is now an input. So now we take the primitive and we connect this to both those seed inputs, and they're both going to source that seed number from the primitive module. So it doesn't matter if we stay on fix and change the number. If we Q prompt, it's going to be working with the same seed. There you go. But then we can also go back down here and changed it from fix to randomize. So every time we hit Q prompt, it's going to be a different seed. Let's go and queue and let's see if, there we go. I mean, the generation is still a little bit messed up, but we can queue prompt to get a better, more normal looking one, hopefully. And there we go. This one looks pretty good besides the hands. That's still something I'm trying to figure out. I know it's possible. This looks very suggestive. Are you sure these are hands? And your prompt doesn't have to be AI influencer related. You could do anything. Let's just type in snowman. We don't want our snowman to be naked, so leave that in there. And Q prompt, and let's see what we get from that. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I know this method is a little bit confusing if you're not used to this kind of workflow. It's something that I'm still learning, but the more that you do it, the more that you'll build that muscle memory. I've been doing this for just a few days and I'm starting to have way more of an understanding of how these things work. I still have a lot to go, but that's where I am now. And that's why I'm making these videos to show you guys what I'm learning as I'm learning it. And if you want to create AI influencers but don't want to have to deal with all that, that is what our premium AI marketing agency is currently working on and doing for clients. So if you're interested in working with us, I'll leave a Google form link in the description below. You can fill that out and we can see if we're a good fit. That's all I have for this one. I'll see you guys in the next video.